Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. In today's video, I'm going to showcase a surprise favorite card of mine from the most recent Murders at Karlov Manor set. It's a common, and took me by surprise at how powerful and good it is, so let's get into it. The card in question is Slime Against Humanity. This thing is sneaky good. I somehow glossed over it when I was looking through the set spoiler on Facebook, but about once a week, maybe a little bit more than once a week, I go through my collection and I just look for cards that I haven't played with, or I just haven't played with recently that stand out to me. And as soon as I went over this one, it immediately stood out to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this? So this is a 15 mana spell. You're going to create 4 Ooze tokens. Those Oozes are going to be 2/2 tokens. And then those Ooze tokens are going to get a permanent +X buff equal to the number of Ooze cards and reinforcements you control plus the number of human cards in all graveyards. The number of human cards in all graveyards is really not a big thing, but the number of Oozes you control with their reinforcements is a big thing. The power on this card is staggeringly large for a common. So to put this into perspective, this is 15 mana for an 8/8 that then gets buffed up to become a 12/12, and with each cast of this, it gets progressively more powerful. It's very rare that we get a card that has a base power toughness equal to or greater than its casting cost. And this is one of those cards that is able to achieve that. So the first cast is going to be a 12/12 for 15. But then every cast after that is going to increase its power by 4. So it's going to go from being a 12/12 to a 16/16, to a 20/20, to a 20/20, to a 24/24, and so on and so forth. And that doesn't mean that the base creature is just going to go from 12 to 16 to 20 to 24. No, you're adding 16, 20, and 24. So this thing gets really large really fast. I can honestly say that I haven't had a game where I've been playing with this card where my Ooze stack has been at less than 100 power when I've won the game. It is able to ramp up really quickly. And some of what I love about this is that this is a card that's a common. So most of you probably already have this card. And if you don't, it's just something that you can look out for when you're opening your booster packs from playing events. Plane Chasing Philbithip is giving out Murders at Karlov Manor packs. The new event is giving them out. The Trial of the Plains is giving them out. There's a whole bunch of ways of getting Murder at Karlov Manor packs, and so you're going to wind up pulling this card sooner or later. Now, the other thing that I really like about this card is that it actually slots really well into decks regardless of what sort of collection you have. Because if you have all of the pretty mythics, masterpieces, etc., then you can make an incredibly powerful deck that's going to streamline this thing out with multiple copies and defeat your opponent really quickly. But if you don't have all those cards and you just have a few select rares and uncommons that are going to benefit this thing, then you're able to make another really cool type of deck that is going to pair really well with this. So some of the cards that are going to pair with this are going to be things that are fairly evident that I think a lot of them are going to be, well, let's just say no big surprise for you. The first of those cards is going to be the one that you saw there on the screen on the side a little bit in Pyromancer's Goggles. This thing is going to enable you to fetch up to 3 of those things and play them every single turn, meaning that you're going to get massive power swings on the board, and even if your opponent is killing the Ooze tokens, because you're continually activating the gems with the goggles, you're going to be going ahead and replacing those Oozes on the battlefield, securing a pretty effective and easy win. Something that you're going to want to do if you're running a goggle version with this card is you're going to want to run as few spells as possible. You'll see that in my goggle decks, I am running it with 2 spells. The 2 are going to be Slime Against Humanity and Tempt with Discovery. Tempt with Discovery is going to turn the whole world green. It's going to discover, which effectively lets us fetch cards and give them half mana. And so it's going to add a lot of consistency to the deck and make it so that as we're popping those Pyromancer Goggle activated gems, it winds up effectively popping all of them every turn, and we're going to get as many casts of those Oozes as we can get. Some other cards to look out for that I think are really cool with Slime Against Humanity are going to be things like Vannifar Evolved Enigma. This thing is actually an Ooze, and it's going to reinforce multiple times a turn, in addition to reinforcing your other creatures temporarily as well. And so this is going to count toward that Ooze stack that you can boost the Oozes with. Is this the most meta thing you can throw with it? No, this one's just more of a fun thing. Similarly, we've got things that change a creature's base power toughness. I'm running Duskana the Rage Mother just because I think it's really fun to play with new cards. Do you need this for the deck? No, just like with Vanifar, it's a fun card. You've got other things at the common and uncommon rarity that are going to increase, or rare rarity I should say, that are going to increase base power toughness. But it's fun to throw a bear in there to turn those oozes into big evil monsters. The rest of this particular deck here is just sort of stuff to synergize and make it more consistent. Maestro's Ascendancy is something that I can throw onto Vanifar or onto the oozes themselves to bring spells specifically back from the graveyard to cast again. And as you'll see in the gameplay, is wildly effective. If you want to take a look at another deck this one's more like Pauper Plus focused, we have some really cool cards that are going to enable the Ooze to cast a bunch too. We've got things like Najal the Stormrunner, which if you keep an Ooze with full mana at the front of your hand, you're going to get a copy every single turn that Najal attacks. And so that's going to create those Ooze stacks almost as effectively as the Pyromancer's Goggles. Not quite as effectively, but almost. And that's really, really good. We've got the Mercurial Spelldancer, which is going to gain oil counters whenever you cast spells or supports. And as long as it has oil counter 2 or greater, you can copy the first spell in your hand and give it full mana. And so if you've got the Mercurial Spelldancer and Najal in your hand, you can wind up getting 2 free casts of Slime Against Humanity per turn, especially if you're casting other spells and supports. And so if you have a deck that's built around casting more spells and supports, like this deck here, you will be able to achieve that fairly easily. Things like Cut Your Losses will enable that pretty well because it's going to convert a whole bunch of gems to blue, and it's also going to potentially let you destroy a creature to cast itself again, to cast it twice. Generally, I wouldn't recommend that so you can maintain your consistency, but you can do that. You've got things like Relic's Roar, which are going to increase the base power toughness of those Ooze tokens. And this one here is my favorite because it's the highest base power increase at increasing it to 6 from 2, which means that when you cast Relic's Roar, every single cast of the Ooze is going to go up by a total of 16 power because it's going to increase them all by 4. You're getting 4 oozes per, and 4 by 4 is 16, so each ooze cast will be 16 stronger than it would be if you did not use the Relic's Roar. This is a great way to just finish off your opponent in one strike. The last sort of synergy that I think is really cool that you can pair with the oozes, just something to tuck away in your mind if you want to have another deck for fun, is going to be some of the white stuff that is going to make more tokens come down. So you can run something like Mondrak Glory Dominus, which is going to make it so that your oozes are going to come out and reinforce, meaning that you're going to be getting 8 oozes for every single cast instead of 4 oozes, which means that the then boost is going to be going up by 8 every time instead of by 4 every time. And so those oozes are going to get real thick, real fast, and kill your opponent. So the rest of this deck is going to be very similar to the other deck that you saw with Kasmina, which brings me to my very last point before I take you into the gameplay. I should have glossed over this one a little bit quicker, but that is Kasmina. With the oozes, you absolutely want to try to play them with Kasmina if at all possible, because her second ability enables that ooze token generator like nothing else. So this is going to create an unsolved enigma token, irrelevant, and then you're going to copy the first spell in your hand and give it full mana, and then convert all gems on the board to a random color. What this means is that you'll be able to get a free copy of your ooze every single turn, because that conversion that you get winds up getting you to your second ability more often than not, especially if you're running other converters. It's also going to help you with the Pyromancer's Goggle activate triggers if you don't have any. And so it just winds up making this deck incredibly consistent. So even if you don't have all the other cards in here and you just have the oozes, as long as you have Kasmina, you're good. And since Kasmina is one of the best planeswalkers in the game, it's one that you should be targeting anyways, so it's not like you're going to have to go and buy something that you don't have and you're not going to use again in order to make this work. So let's go ahead and get into that gameplay. I'm incredibly excited to showcase what is one of my favorite cards in Murders at Karlov Manor. Match number 1 is going to be up against a Samut. Well, we don't see her very often. That's kind of a surprise. Starting hand, Tempt with Discovery and Maestro's Ascendancy is pretty solid. Tempt is going to help us a lot. And as for gem matches, I feel kind of spoiled here. I've got this little 5 match over here that's not going to mess with this red 5. And so I'll definitely be able to do a 5 into a 5. So I'm going to go ahead and take those, see if I can't get off the converter this turn. I doubt it, but it's always possible. So I've got another 5. That's crazy. All right, 3 5s in a row. None of them are in my colors, so it's not actually giving me all that much mana, but it's still enough mana, I suppose, to be getting by, and it gives me loyalty. That's actually a really big thing with this deck, is getting that loyalty. Because once you're able to get to your second ability, you're able to then start spamming that off, and those free spells are just huge for you. So this is definitely not what I wanted to see. I didn't need a third one of those, but that's okay. Here I've got an interesting option. I could tempt with Discovery and draw 2, see what I get, or I could use my first ability here, and I'm actually going to do that. I want to see if I can't get anything particularly good. I can. I've got a Slime Against Humanity, that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something kind of funky. I'm going to move that. Actually, I'm just going to move it all the way on up. Yeah, because if I move that up, I can have the Maestra's Ascendancy do its thing, and that will wind up getting me a whole bunch of goodness. So let's do that. Let's get our first Ooze down. And so here's going to be your first sighting of the Oozes coming into play. You'll see that the Oozes are going to drop down, and ooh, I get another Tempt with Discovery. Yes, please. And you're going to see that the Oozes are going to drop down as a 12/12. So here they go. We get the 8/8 worth of Ooze, and then they're going to buff. And as they buff, they're going to go to a 12/12. And then Kasmina's first is going to temporarily buff them, but that doesn't mean anything here. So that's not going to really help. I am going to give them Imminent Death. I'm going to take another free Ooze from my graveyard to the Ascendancy, and that means that I'm going to be able to use my second. So here you're going to see me activate Kasmina's second ability, and then this is not only going to give me another Ooze, but it's going to give me a whole bunch of loyalty. I'm at 8 out of 12, meaning that I think I will more likely than not be able to use it again next turn. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to throw some stuff away, and then I'm actually just going to keep one slime in my hand so that next turn I can go ahead and make some more crazy things happen. I've got a really great match over here, so I'm definitely going to go ahead and take that match. It's going to do some cascade action. Gets us to our second, like I said we would be able to do. We're going to play the Ooze down, so that's going to boost up even more. And now you might think it's counterintuitive to give the Oozes the Imminent Death because we're losing stacks, but honestly with this deck it really doesn't make that big of a difference. We've got another Slime Against Humanity here that's perfect. We've got the Pyromancer's Goggles down, and so we're looking at defeating my opponent this next turn. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull some things. I'll take the Introduction to Annihilation just so that I've got a removal card just in case. But my guess is that my second ability here is going to win the game this turn. I've got the Vanifar, that's really not going to do very much for me. I'm going to bring my other Slime Against Humanity on up. I'm going to activate, you know what, let's toss these two just in case this activation gives me 3 spells. You never know, it's definitely worth just playing it carefully. I don't get all 3 spells, that's fine. I believe that this is one of my activated gems. They get all funky on the goggles if you mess around like how I did. And so let's see, we're going to take green. The green actually might not be the best one to take just in case. So I'm actually going to take the white one. Because if I wind up getting, oh gosh, I've got 3 of these things. If I wind up getting a Tempt with Discovery, that will actually be in my favor to take the white one instead, because it'll be converting green. So we're going to get Vanifar, we're going to get more Oozes down, and you're going to see that we're just getting a whole bunch of these things down, and that's really the power, and they're just ramping up so fast. So we're going to get even more Oozes down, they're going to keep on ramping. You'll see that the boost that they're getting is very significant. We're already approaching 100 power in Ooze. We just need one more cast, there it is, and this will definitely be enough to put away my opponent. This means that this last cast should be a Tempt with Discovery. No, it's another Ooze. Oh man, look at this. This is just common domination. How many times do you play a deck around a common where that common hits 162 power and wipes away an opponent? So that's it for the first match. Definitely got to see the action of Pyromancer's Goggles, the Ascendancy, and the Oozes just going completely ham. Let's take a look at the Pauper Plus deck next and conclude with the Tamiyo deck. Let's see what Pauper Plus gets. Not the best, not the worst. We've got some removal, we've got a way of casting multiple spells with Cut Your Losses, and we've got a way to kill my opponent faster with the Relic's Roar. So that's going to be a really good thing for me. I've also got a pretty solid opening swap there, and ooh, Cryptex. If you guys haven't gotten Cryptex yet, Cryptex is amazing. This is a big time chase card, in my opinion. Now here I'm going to take the red into loyalty. Red gives me decent mana with Kasmina, whereas the other gains don't really give me anything special. And I've got a Sunken Citadel and a Cryptex. Okay, so here I'm going to actually use my first just to see if I can't fetch into anything good. I'll take the Najal here. Najal would actually be really nice with the Cut Your Losses, because if there was a way to just sort of keep that in my hand and casting every turn, that would be huge. But I'll take what I've got. I'll see if I can't just boost my loyalty up a little bit by playing what I've got here. Get some mana, try and get Cryptex down. I don't get Cryptex, not the end of the world. I'll get it next turn. I've got to Sleep with the Fishes, I've got a Void Rend, I've got the Relic's Roar, so really at this point, I have all of the different pieces that I want to make this work. I just need to draw into the final piece to make this go kaboom. So Cryptex comes down, that's going to be converting 5 gems to green or blue every turn now. So either way, it's going to help me. It's going to make it so that I'm able to get to what I want a little bit quicker. I'm going to keep using Living Sum just so that I can filter through my deck. Talent of the Telepath is absolutely going to help me filter my deck a little bit. I'm going to throw away a Relic's Roar. I don't need that. And then I like what I have here. I'm going to Talent's Telepath before I Sunken Citadel, because the Citadel is going to convert gems for me. So I'll just take another Citadel here. Just filter that out of my deck a little bit. And then I'll hit my opponent. I'll get a free spell here. This is just going to give me more removal, which gives me a little bit more buffer in case my opponent's playing something scary. They're not. I appreciate that they're not, actually. So I'm going to Void Rend that. Actually, that creature is kind of not great. So what I'm going to do is, instead of Void Rending that, I'm actually just going to go ahead, play this safe. I'm going to Sleep with the Fishes it. Sleep with the Fishes is really nice, because if you neuter one of your opponent's cards with Sleep with the Fishes, then it just stays sort of permanently neutered there. It just doesn't do anything. So at this point, I really just need to draw into my Ooze, and I'll be sitting pretty. So my opponent can keep going ahead and playing effectively garbage. I don't really care about that. I'm actually going to get rid of copies of Void Rend at this point, just because I really don't need that many copies of a Void Rend. And here I just want loyalty, and I want to try and fetch into my Ooze. So we'll see what comes up. We'll see if we can't get that Ooze. My opponent's converting into blue, of course, from the Yavimaya coast, and well, while that's not a great card, it's of course going to, in this particular situation, enable them to get goodies. And then I'll take the Cut Your Losses here. This game is just insisting that we don't get the Ooze. So here I've actually got, I've got a really cool play at my disposal. So I'm going to play the Spell Dancer here, and then I'm going to play a Void Rend here, so that I can wipe out my opponent's stuff. I actually normally wouldn't destroy the Ooze, but I'm going to keep the Cut Your Losses in my hand, and now that is going to be something that I'm going to get a free copy of every turn. And so now I'm just going to get crazy mana. And so the waiting game for the Ooze continues. This is sort of the downside to playing this deck, right? If you're playing it without the Pyromancer's goggles, is sometimes you just have to fish a bunch for your Ooze. And now here I've got the Ooze. That's great. I'm going to toss another Void Rend. I've got everything I need to make the Ooze go crazy here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I want the Ooze to be the thing that's getting copied. So I'm going to convert things. I'm not going to destroy anything here. And then I should be getting 2 copies of my Ooze. So I'm going to confirm. I'm going to get rid of everything, and I'm going to get 2 copies of the Ooze. Perfect. So next turn, I'm going to play even more copies of the Ooze. That's not terrifying at all. I'm actually not even worried about it. So here we're going to play, yep, we're going to get Ooze. We're going to get Ooze. We're absolutely going to destroy my opponent's thing. And then I could play a Cut Your Losses, but I want to save that for next turn. I don't think I need to cast it. You know, let's cast it just in case I can get to my second loyalty ability off of casting that. I've got a ton of loyalty here. I'm just going to keep all those blue gems on the board. Let's go ahead and get the Oozes down now. And so unless my opponent gets rid of my Oozes, I imagine that I'm going to kill my opponent next turn with the Oozes. So this is one thing that's really cool about this, right? Is it took us a little bit to get there, but once you do get there and you get the Oozes and you get your things going, you just win the game, like pretty quickly. So here I can destroy something, but I don't want to. Even though it would mean that I would be able to probably get to my second ability, I'm guaranteed going to be getting 2 more oozes here. So I'm going to get rid of 2 oil counters. I'm going to get 2 more oozes. I've got 4 oozes in my hand. 3 oozes. I've got 3 oozes in my hand. And so here my opponent's just dead unless they wipe my board. So we'll see what they play. No. Okay. So we're going to win with a super, super massive ooze here. So let's see. Can I get to my second? Ooh, it's going to be real close. I don't think so. Just in case, I'm going to keep one of my slimes available. Let's see if we can't get a cascade. If I can, that would be lovely. I get a Relic's Roar drawn there. That's cool. I do get it. Perfect. Okay, so you guys get to see the full ooze action again in the second match. This is fantastic. Okay, let's see how big our oozes get here. They're gonna be pretty massive. Last time you didn't get to see the bear mother boosting the oozes, but this time you're gonna see the oozes turn into dinosaurs. So, all right, let's put the slime on up. Let's get a free extra copy of the ooze from Kasmina, and then yeah, this is gonna be gorgeous. Okay, we're gonna take red into blue. We're gonna get 2 more copies of the ooze down. I'm telling you guys, this is just so easy to get going. Like, as long as you have these base cards, you just get so much power. It's devastating and amazing. I love that this is a common. I love it so much. And here, you're going to see that the common ooze and the Pauper Plus deck is actually going to achieve a higher power. Granted, it took longer, but yeah, 228 ooze power. We're gonna boost this thing over here as well. There's really no point in not doing that. And then even though I'm not getting any more spells, that's all she wrote. That's a very dead Karn. Karn? Yes. So let's go ahead and check out the last game. Let's check and see what happens if we splice this with white. Now, can white justify use over Kasmina? That's the big question here. Pyromancer's Goggles we definitely want as quickly as possible. And then actually I want the Elish Norn as quickly as possible too. On the downside, I am running a tricolored Planeswalker. I happen to think that tricolor Planeswalkers are, on the whole, rather bad in Standard just because of their mana bonuses. But in this particular case, we do want the tricolor Walker for what she provides. So we're getting closer to the Goggles. The Goggles will hopefully get me some temp with discoveries. Oh man, we're getting everything we want. So if we can just get... Okay, the Goggles will come down this turn. If I make the blue, that's guaranteed to make Goggles come down. And then I gave my opponent a 5 match on white. They didn't take it. Well, that was a mistake. And then I've got, ooh, I'm going to get 2 free spells here. So since I'm getting 2 free spells, I don't need the Volt Strider anymore. I do want the Cryptex up. That's going to be really important. And then, yep, here's a Tempt with Discovery. Perfect. And then that's going to get me another spell. Ooh, this is just nasty. Okay, so we're getting Cryptex. We're getting Mondrak. And then this will guarantee that we just get everything off here. So I'm going to take another Pyromancer's Goggles just to protect the shields on my goggles. And I'm going to take an Ascendancy so I can get back some of my oozes. So now we're going to be getting... You're going to see here how 8 oozes come down instead of 4 oozes. Thank you, Mondrak, for this. And so we're just going to keep force funneling those on down here, which is really good. And then I'm not attacking this turn, which is okay. I don't really need to attack this turn, but I do feel like I'm in a pretty good position here. So my opponent's not playing anything scary. The oozes are already up to 93 power. Oh, geez. Okay, let's see. In terms of matches, are any of these from my goggles? There's one from the goggle down there. There's one from the goggle over there. Okay, so I actually don't need any of those things. I'm going to keep the Ascendancy just in case. Oh, I get another slime. Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, I want all of this. This game is tempting me in a really mean way. Okay, let's get rid of the Ascendancy here. Let's just see if we can't make something great happen. So, yeah, I've got the goggles. The Citadel is absolutely going off here. So, we're going to get a free thing. We're just going to see if the Citadel can get me anything more. It doesn't, but the Tempt will. Oh, boy. Oh, we get to see everything go massive. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yep, this is what we're here to see. This is what you guys came to watch. You guys came to watch this garbage happen right here. So, I'll take the Elish Norn just in case that drops. Because at this point, the supports don't mean anything. We're going to get the oozes coming down. They're going to boost. They're going to get really, really big. We've got a whole bunch of bonus spells. We've got some more slimes that are going to be coming out here. Those are going to be massive as well. So let's see how these go. Oh my gosh. We're going to get the slimes into the 200 range with this deck. Oh man. This is so good. This is so good, guys. This is so fun. Oh my gosh, another slime. Oh boy. Okay, well this is just pedal to the metal. This is just maxing it out. So that was fun. This has actually been my best game with this deck. I've played this deck a few times, but this was by far the best one. So I'll definitely keep this one in the video so you guys can see this one. That was good. So all right, that's gonna be my last match with the slimes. I'm sure you could hear in my voice, I've had a ton of fun playing with this card. It's really, really fun. I'd love to see what decks you guys come up with if you do anything differently than what I did. I think that Kasmina is the best. She's just the most consistent. She pairs really well with the card with her second ability, popping the goggles and all of that. But with Tamiyo, you can definitely get some of those big poppers like that last turn. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.